My name is Kathleen Goodstriker. My Indian name is Many Holy Offering Woman, or Itikitstan, the things that you put up for offerings. That's what it's based on. The reason I'm here is I'm here to talk about the herbs that my dad used. My dad was a herbalist that traveled across North America pretty well to help others through their pain, stuff that they were afflicted with. And he had been given the use of many herbs and traded for many others. Along with that came the prayers and the songs that he sings during his sweat. I won't go too far in depth with them, but as far as I've been given the opportunity to work alongside him, it would be just in mixing our basic plants, the Blackfoot, within our Blackfoot territory. The mission was to promote the natural medicines as much as we can, because in the way the healthcare and the government are pushing pills, pharmaceuticals, opiates on us, it's damaging our lives and our communities more than it is helping. So there's a need now for our medicine to be exposed and used much more. I've given Linda a list of the basic ones that are here. There are many others, and many of our tribes share the same herbs, roots, and use it for the basic need at home. There are others that are so, how would you say it, sought after, very rare, that are used for higher cases in medicine, such as cancers and brain injuries and stuff like that, which my dad only knew that. It came with the prayers, and he had the knowledge behind it when he traded to other tribes for stuff. Most of the time, he traded up north in Fort McKay, Fort Chipewyan, for some of the plants that came from that area. And the plants that they took from here would be the licorice, the cow parsnip, which is called the grandfather root, the prairie sage, and the other one would be the wild turnips, or wild, can't remember the name of it, it'll come to me. Wild rhubarb, that's the root we use too. And everybody uses it in different ways, and calls it a different root in their own tribe. I traveled with my dad to many places where he was like overwhelmed by the amounts of people that needed the medicine. And oftentimes when we couldn't stay long enough to take care of everyone, he would get their addresses and just get a name or a statement saying what they're going through. And then he would mail off the medicines to them. He'd pray over them, put them in little parcels. And it used to be he would send them on the Greyhound bus to get there for overnight service. Along with this little background of my dad's, I also provided Linda with his personal philosophy, and he would pass these out at the little seminars and places that he would be invited to talk about the herbs. He also has a little I forgot what that series was called, Walking with Grandfather. It was a pullout during the 1990s, within the 90s. And 90s and 2000, I think it was 2001 it started. Anyways, he just talks about a little bit of his medicines, his philosophy, and his advice towards the younger people of our nation. He was trying to, at the time, get more people involved in using the medicines. And he wanted to share that information because he felt it was very valuable for all of us that we learn our own native names to some of the roots and herbs that we use. In the Blackfoot language, there's probably all their names to them, but I don't recollect any or have the knowledge with that. He found it's important that we harvest, and you harvest your plants in the mountain ranges, in the clearest areas. You don't pick them on the side of the road. You find sacred holy spots. You make your offering, and then you start picking the roots, dry them, and then when you're processing them and using them, he usually used a cheese grater to grind down the roots, to bring everything down to a nice bark kind of thing, like a mixture. So it boils all the medicine out better. Maybe even a coffee grinder is good to chop it up if you haven't got the patience to be using a grater. When making your own medicine, I would suggest going to your elder and talking to them about the medicines and having them remember how it's made. Sometimes it's just straight with the root, like the rat root, boiling it straight into the water and just sipping on it. That's the way most of the medicines are used singularly. My father, Nina, was Binakwim. He was married to Mom's Suataki, and his name is from the great chief, our ancestor, seen from afar. That was his last and elder name. Binakwim was a herbalist that traveled, over North America, mostly across Canada, to different tribes, and his mission was to share the herbs that he was given. He was given this opportunity when he went to visit the old lady, Mrs. Roan, at Small Boys Camp. And from him, the spirits graciously accepted his request that he enter into this field. And so he was given a lot of the songs, the prayers, and the direction on how to go with these herbs. He did that for many years. All of us were busy in our lives during those times, but when it came down to it, I was the one that was bringing him around later into the last years of his life. So why I'm helping to share this knowledge is like on my dad's personal philosophy. It was always his wish that everyone would get involved in the medicines. And on here it says the knowledge of medicine has been weakened or discontinued during the last 2 centuries, and we all know that's because they tried to take away everything from us, our culture, our language, through the residential schools and whatnot. But our medicines have always been here, have always been waiting to be picked, and the knowledge of who holds the key to a lot of it has gone with the elders. Most of them were the women that would make the tea. When Dad got into it, he was, like I said, given the blessing from Mrs. Roan, and many other roots were introduced to him, medicines that he needed in order to fulfill what his mission was, and that was to offer some form of medicinal therapy for those that were suffering, like for the arthritis, the diabetes, the cancers that were coming in quite heavily then. Since his passing in 2005, there hasn't been that many. Uncle George was doing it, and then he got sick. So the knowledge keepers of the medicine are dwindling, and we need to get together and do a cross-cultural awakening, like Dad says, in the spirit of our traditionalism, of what we were given from the Creator, from the spirits, and from Mother Earth. We need to put all of that together and come back with our own way of healing ourselves. Many of us are leery of the pharmaceuticals these days because of what the addiction does to a person and how much it deteriorates our organs. Like for instance, when you take a Tylenol, it's going straight to your liver, and not many of us really have the knowledge that the damage that these things do. When you're drinking your own teas and that, we know that it passes through us, does its thing, and goes right back to nature. And so we're not harming or putting more toxins into the environment. We're only doing and using what we need and what we have to get through for our sicknesses and that. So in conclusion, my intention for getting involved in this Indigenous program is a lot of this has been kept from the public. Nobody knew of the names that we had for the herbs, or no one knew them by sight, or we're just losing it slowly. So hopefully what I've put forth and what my dad used to pass out at these conferences and places that he would be called to talk, is that people just generally start sharing and gaining more knowledge, not gaining the knowledge and sharing amongst your families, your friends, so that you have a little pharmacy of natural herbs and roots. It's your go-to medicine. God, the Creator gave it to us, and it was put there on earth for our use. Make use of them, and do your best to use this type of medicine as an alternative to what you're going through. We know that the pharmaceuticals do more harm in some cases than we really expect, and we only want to feel better. So this is the medicine that was given to us, and I hope we get to use and share it amongst all of us. Thank you.